Have you ever noticed that the most violent truths aren't hidden in secrecy? They're drowned in noise. Have you noticed how truth dies, not in silence, but in laughter? Have you noticed that lies don't need to be believed? They only need to distract you long enough. What if the truth was never hidden from you, just buried beneath everything you think you know? Listen carefully. The most dangerous lies aren't spoken to deceive you. They're engineered to make you stop asking why. And in that silence, they win. But not today. Because in this video, I'll show you the truth. Stay until the end, and I'll reveal 6 psychological tactics to expose lies and the liars who build them. Moscow, 1930s. The man who turned lies into a system of power and noise into a wall that buried the truth. Stalin didn't fear conspiracies. He feared silence. He knew that silence was dangerous because silence allows people to think. So, he created constant noise, parades, chants, speeches, portraits, statues, endless headlines. The entire country was singing his name, even those who hid terror behind their smiles. Every time an innocent man was executed, the newspapers released a story about a great conspiracy. Every time mass graves were uncovered, the radio announced a new industrial triumph. For Stalin, distraction wasn't a tactic, it was a doctrine. He believed that if people were flooded with glory, they'd never notice the blood beneath it. He built a ministry of truth before Orwell ever imagined one, and turned the press into a machine that manufactured an alternate reality, a place where citizens didn't live as they were, but as they were told to be. When a city starved, the headlines read, "A historic agricultural victory." When a poet died in prison, the radio aired a national tribute in his honor. Everything happened in plain sight, yet no one saw anything, because noise doesn't blind the eyes. It drowns them in artificial light. The best way to hide the truth is to make people sing around it. Attributed to one of his aides, Stalin built an empire of echoes, where individual voices vanished into a single chorus, praising him without even knowing why. He didn't need to bury the truth. He simply made everyone too busy repeating it in another tone. There's simple psychology behind this. When our minds are overloaded or excited, we focus on a few things and stop questioning. A steady flood of headlines or shows narrows attention and makes stories that fit our expectations feel true. Noise doesn't hide the truth by covering it. It hides it by drowning our ability to notice. Picture 2 people hearing the same story. One believes it right away and reacts. The other pauses and asks, "Who wants me to believe this? And why?" Because lies don't appear by accident. They're planted. Each one is a seed of control, designed to grow inside your mind. The first person argues, defends, repeats the story. The second stays silent and watches who benefits from the confusion. One becomes the echo, the other becomes the observer. In the end, only one remains truly free. Not the one who shouts the truth, but the one who understands that every lie leaves behind a fingerprint, a mark only the watchful can see. I need you to stop for a second and remember with me. How many times have you agreed with something because the room was loud and confident? How often did a trusted source become your shortcut to action while the real danger slipped past? Now ask yourself, how many of your beliefs are truly yours and how many were handed to you, disguised as safety? Try this. When you hear a story that feels perfect, stop. When something flatters you or confirms what you want to believe, question it. Ask, who wins if I believe this? That single question protects you more than any wall of certainty. Now ask yourself, how much of what you believe could just be an echo? Remember, control can be the most beautiful trap. The moment you're sure you see everything, you stop looking. The moment you believe you're free, someone has already learned how to guide you. So stay aware. Listen, not to the noise, but to the silence behind it, because that's where truth waits. So tell me, will you let the noise around you shape your choices, or will you be the one to choose the narrative? Are you steering your mind, or are you only in the line in someone else's story of control? At the end of every deception, one figure stays awake. Not the believer, but the observer, who sees how every lie eventually turns against its creator. To survive that kind of warfare, you don't fight noise with noise. You fight it with stillness, with observation, and with documentation. Below are 6 behavioral countermeasures, not theories, but field-tested tactics to detect manipulation before it rewrites your perception. 1. Stay calm. Silence is your weapon. Liars feed on your emotional reaction. They want you to defend, to explain, to rush. But when you pause and stay silent, they lose control, because silence forces them to fill the space, and truth often slips out in those extra words. Remember this. Emotion clouds logic. Stillness exposes motive. 2. Watch patterns, not statements. Don't focus on what they say. Focus on how often they change their story. Truth stays consistent under pressure, Lies evolve with new questions. Ask the same question twice, in different ways. If the answer changes, you've found a fracture. Truth has memory. Lies need maintenance. 3. Notice timing and motivation. Every lie serves a purpose. Ask yourself, why now? Why this detail? Who benefits if I believe this? Liars reveal themselves not by content, but by timing. The moment they decide to speak or distract. If their story arrives right when attention shifts elsewhere, it's not coincidence, it's strategy. 4. Use controlled curiosity. Pretend you believe them, but ask subtle follow-up questions that corner logic. Oh, that's interesting. When exactly did that happen? Who else was there? What happened right after? Liars weave emotion, not chronology. Details break them. The more they explain, the weaker the lie becomes. 5. Listen to the gaps. Truth flows naturally. Lies skip moments. When someone jumps over key parts of a story, it's not forgetfulness. It's selective editing. Bring them back to the missing piece. You mentioned A and C. What happened in between? Their pause will tell you more than their answer. 6. And final one. Protect your mind, not just your reputation. The liar's real goal is not to deceive your mind. It's to infect your perception. Don't let their story become your reality. Write down facts as you know them. Document what was said, when, and by whom. Memory fades. Records don't. That's how professionals defend themselves in psychological warfare. Remember this. Every lie has a lifespan, measured by your attention. Withdraw it, and the illusion starves. Stay calm, stay watchful, and let your stillness become their interrogation. Most people don't want truth. They want relief. A voice that tells them what to feel, what to hate, what to love. That's how control survives. Not by force, but by rhythm. But if you can break the rhythm, if you can pause, observe, and document, you'll hear something rare. A silence that doesn't ask for belief, only awareness. That silence is your last weapon. Because in the world built on noise, even a moment of clarity becomes rebellion. So when the screen goes dark and the voices fade, remember, the lie only lives if you keep listening. They don't need to chain you to control you. They just need to teach you which chains feel comfortable. Manipulators don't rule by truth. They rule by rhythm. Each lie they craft is tuned to your desire, your need to feel right, safe, certain. They don't steal your freedom. They convince you to surrender it willingly. The best manipulators never silence you. They let you speak, but only inside the story they built for you. Every belief becomes a tool. Every opinion becomes a line in their script. And every argument you think you're winning is one they wrote years before you joined the stage. You can't expose them by shouting. You expose them by watching. Because the true manipulator fears no accusation, only the moment you start thinking without their voice in your head. So remember this. They don't control minds by force. They do it by reflection, by turning your thoughts into mirrors that show only what they want you to see. And when you finally break that mirror, you don't just find the truth, you find yourself.